Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. When it comes to preparing for retirement, we all want to hear from somebody who's been in the trenches, who's studied the trends, who really understands what it takes to retire comfortably. Today we're talking about a woman who checks all of those boxes and then some, Alicia Munnell, with decades of experience from serving on the President's Council of Economic Advisors to a career at the Federal Reserve to founding the Center for Retirement Research. Alicia has seen it all when it comes to retirement planning. And now as she prepares to step into her own personal retirement, she's sharing invaluable insights from her top tips to her personal missteps. So let's take a look. Starting with retirement security. Retirement security is simply the ability to maintain your pre-retirement standard of living. Can you continue the life that you're used to? That's what most people are aiming for. And the Center for Retirement Research measures this through the National Retirement Risk Index. And for years, this data showed that nearly half of all households entering into retirement were at risk of falling short. That's why we see so many headlines saying that America is on the brink of a retirement crisis. Because if half of all households entering into retirement are going to have to make serious cuts to their budget, that's a real issue. But in recent years, the narrative has really shifted. Alicia herself has gained a more optimistic outlook. As the stock market has increased, as home values have increased, fewer Americans are at risk of a shortfall. The latest data shows that 39% of households are at risk of having to reduce their standard of living in retirement. Still a concern, but better than 50%. The unfortunate truth is that there's really no magic fix. It generally just comes down to being willing to save more, cut back more, or just having to delay retirement in order to put yourself in a better financial position. Now, for someone who's on the brink of retirement or those years leading up to your retirement, Alicia has a quick 3-point checklist to determine your retirement readiness. One is to consider when to take Social Security. Choosing when to claim Social Security is a crucial decision, as many retirees rely heavily on Social Security as an income source in retirement. Do you want to claim early? Do you want to wait till full retirement age? Or do you want to wait all the way up until the age of 70 and do delayed claiming? It's a decision you want to carefully consider and make sure you make the right one for you. I am currently creating a full series on Social Security to help people make more informed decisions on their own personal situations. Even when to claim Social Security itself is not a decision that's made in isolation. If you have a partner, you'll want to coordinate with them to determine the right age for both of you to claim Social Security. Do you want to continue working longer? Does it make sense to wait to claim Social Security? Even if you retire early, do you want to immediately claim, or do you want to do delayed claiming and allow that benefit to grow to a larger monthly amount? If you make that choice, do you have a way to bridge this gap? Do you have an income source or investments that you can draw on? It is a nuanced decision. 2, do you have a plan of how to draw down on your accumulated savings? Have you chosen a withdrawal rate? Are you going to follow something like the 4% rule? Or are you going to follow some other schedule? Do you have a plan in place? Do you have different accounts to draw on? Maybe those are traditional accounts, maybe they're Roth accounts, maybe even brokerage accounts. Do you have an emergency fund in place and ready to go? These are things you want to consider, and having a solid plan in place makes the transition to retirement much easier. 3, are you willing to consider your home as part of your income portfolio? Alicia is a big advocate for retirees looking at their home value or the equity they have in their home as an income source in retirement. For many retirees, they do go into retirement with a fully paid off home. And there's a lot of talk about a home being looked at as a forced savings account. Over the years, you put money into your home, you pay down that mortgage, and in the end, you have an asset that is fully paid off. And generally speaking, this asset does increase in value. So Alicia likes the idea of looking at this as a potential income source. And we all know that Americans' default mode is not necessarily to be aggressive savers and investors. So for many Americans, the argument that a home can be viewed as a forced savings account can be a very valid argument. And Alicia is a big advocate for once people reach retirement, that they are willing to tap into their home as an income source, either through downsizing or through a reverse mortgage. And these could be very real options for increasing your income in retirement. Personally, I am very much a fan of downsizing in retirement. Once you enter that phase of life where your kids are grown, why not downsize? A smaller home is just easier to take care of, and quite frankly, for many people, it's more valuable in retirement to have access to more money than it is to live in a more valuable assets. I'm more of a fan of downsizing than I am a reverse mortgage, but that's a different topic for a different video. Alicia says, if you nail these 3 decisions, if you figure out when's the best time to claim Social Security, if you have a solid plan for your transition into retirement and how you're going to fund it, and if you're willing to look at your home as an income source, you can have a much easier transition and a more successful retirement. In retirement, we transition from saving to spending, and these are 2 very different mindsets. Accumulation is much easier. It's simply saving and investing and putting it on autopilot. Decumulation, on the other hand, is much harder. You have to ask yourself, okay, how much can I take out and how much do I have to leave invested to make sure it lasts the duration that I need it to? What makes it so hard is that none of us have an answer to the question of how long am I going to live? You don't want to take out too little, but you don't want to take out too much. You don't want to outlive your money, but you don't want to restrict yourself unnecessarily. I used to worry that people would spend down their assets too quickly and run out of money. More recently, I am more concerned with the opposite problem, that they will cling to their nest eggs and unduly restrict their standard of living in retirement. Both are very real problems, and I tend to agree with Alicia because I tend to see that same problem. Once people enter into retirement, they tend to restrict themselves more than necessary. That transition from saving to spending is harder than a lot of people realize. So I think there's great truth to saying that we need to develop a solid plan for decumulation so you get to enjoy everything you've worked so hard for. While Alicia has built a reputation for being a retirement resource for so many people, she also reflected on 2 big mistakes she made when it came to her own retirement planning. When Alicia left her position at the Federal Reserve at age 50, she claimed her pension early, receiving a lower monthly benefit. Her intent was to invest that money, thinking that she would better be able to handle it herself. But looking back, she didn't invest a dime of that money. It quickly became part of her regular monthly spending. Had she waited to claim on this pension, her monthly benefit would have been higher. And I think this serves as a reminder that it's easy to make these theoretical plans with money, but if we don't put them into action, they're kind of a moot point. And this is definitely something worth talking about because just as it applies to a pension, it also applies to something like Social Security. It can be so easy, especially for us financially savvy individuals, to say, oh, I'll claim it early, I can put that money to better use, I can invest it and get a better return on that money. But if you don't follow through, all you had is a wonderful theory that never got executed. I could even take this a step further and apply this to the argument that people have against paying off their home when their mortgage sits at a very low interest rate. So often that argument ends up being, well, if I have the money in the bank making more, it makes more sense to leave it there. Or if I invest it and it captures a higher rate of return, I'm essentially making money. And that is absolutely true, so long as you actually have this money sitting in a bank account, or so long as you're actually investing this money on a monthly basis. If you do that, you absolutely come out ahead. But this does require a level of commitment. It does require avoiding lifestyle creep. If you can commit to this and you actually follow through, yes, you can come out ahead. If you can't commit to it, again, it was a wonderful theory, but it never got executed. The other mistake she speaks of is not executing a Roth conversion, but rather her investments are sitting in a traditional 401k. One of the main benefits of a Roth account is once you get to retirement, you're allowed to make withdrawals completely tax-free. And a Roth absolutely makes sense if you anticipate being in a higher tax bracket in your retirement years, which is often the case for many aggressive savers and investors. On the other hand, with traditional accounts, you contribute pre-tax dollars, then once you get to retirement, you start to make your withdrawals. These withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income. Also, you have to consider that traditional accounts also have RMDs, or required minimum distributions, where you're forced to take a withdrawal from this account whether you need the money or not. A Roth conversion can be a great money move, and it can give you a lot more flexibility with your money, even when it comes to estate planning and passing money on to your heirs, as your heirs get to take money out of the Roth account completely tax-free. Now, whether a traditional account or a Roth account is best for you depends on your situation and your tax bracket. It depends on your tax bracket during your working years as well as during your retirement years. So a Roth conversion might be something worth considering because it can give you greater tax advantages and more flexibility, but it's not always the best choice. I think her reflections on her own personal retirement planning and some of the mistakes in there was very meaningful because it speaks to the fact that no matter how well we know money and how well we study the subject, we all make mistakes. Maybe they're minor, but none of us are perfect. There's always something that we could look back on and say, I could have done that better. I also want to take a moment to comment on Alicia Munnell's retirement. She is retiring at 82 after a very long and successful career. Delaying your retirement significantly boosts your odds of retirement success. And it's just as important to have something that you're retiring into. Alicia is not fully stepping away from the workforce and completely hanging up her hat. She's going to continue serving as a senior advisor for the Center of Retirement Research. This speaks to having a job that she enjoyed, having something that was fulfilling and something that continues to be fulfilling. It's so important to have purpose within your life during your working years and during your retirement years. And during your retirement years, maybe that comes through part-time work or family time or social time or travel or activities, whatever brings meaning to your life. Money is important, but only insofar that it allows you to live the life you want. Use your money to build the life you want. So what do you think about this retirement checklist? What do you think about finding meaning in retirement? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Welcome back to the channel. When it comes to... that was ridiculous. Okay. Hey guys. Can't be laughing as we start. That's not helpful. Okay. Stone-faced. Serious. This is serious, okay? Serious. Can't do it. Am I centered? Am I off center? Sharing invaluable insights from her top. There we go. It's become far more optimistic as the stock market, that's a thing. Her intent, oh my gosh.